For young Americans, it's all about appearances. Even if you need money to spend money you don't have. 2 in 5 adults are now going into debt just to look successful. And almost 40% say they would ruin their credit scores or max out their credit cards just to impress friends, coworkers, or even for a first date. It's no wonder why nearly 70% of American workers are living paycheck to paycheck. And in the tease, we called it keeping up with the Joneses. That reminds me of, back in the day before social media, you were trying to keep up with your neighbor. Did you have the nicest car? Who had more, a bigger house, or whatever accoutrements went on the house, and people were competing with each other. But this has been up to a different degree with social media, because now these kids are trying to keep up with the influencers. And you're just never going to win, in my view, if you're playing that game. And the only thing that you're going to do, Marcus, is hurt yourself, end up in debt, create a situation where your credit score is low and you can't get a business loan, car loan, home mortgage loan, whatever the case may be. And so the importance of kids understanding...
And then you'll blame it on somebody else.
Right. And saying then you need a bailout of some sort.
Yeah.
But the importance of kids understanding that this life we've created in social media is not real. You're not competing with anything that is real. I don't know how to impart that message to people.
Well, there's 2 data points that support this idea. One, we saw the retail numbers come out today and they were up. Yeah. And we saw Affirm data come out a week ago and that was up. So this idea
buy now, pay later.
That's right. Yeah. Buy now, pay never. It's buy now, pay never. And so you wonder, why are these young folks feeling the need to impress everybody other than the people they need to? They should be working. They should be focusing on saving money. They should be working on building the American dream and buying their first home. I don't think there's enough knowledge around financial literacy and the importance of credit. They think just having a nice jacket or having a nice car is all that matters, and they're going to find out it's not going to be the case.
I agree with you on the literacy aspect of it. And Brian, we've talked about that a lot on the program, but also the psychology of it, I think, is really important. Yeah. Why they feel the need to, they see people flying on private jets and carrying Birkin bags around and going on
Which I still don't even know what those Birkin bags are, but I hear about them all the
time. And so you just say to yourself, all this imaging that people are seeing, it's not good for their mental health.
Totally. And, it comes down to identity. Like, who are you? What do you think defines your value as a human being? And if you define your value externally, do I keep up with this person? I don't even know what bag are they wearing, what trip. If that's a source of your identity, you're in trouble. You're always going to be chasing the wind, and you're going to spend all your money trying to do it. To me, it's interesting that you said the word imaging, because, as a person of faith, I believe I'm made in the image of a creator, God, and so my worth and identity comes from that image, not from how I appear with you guys on this screen. I couldn't keep up with these Joneses. You're impossible to keep up with, but I don't have to do that because I've got a different source of identity. Can I say one bright spot, though, that I thought was interesting? 46% of men said they'd go into debt for a single date.
Yeah, I noticed that.
28% of women would go into debt for a date.
Of those 28%?
Men are trying hard out here.
Why are the ladies paying for anything?
Why would they be paying at all?
Well, maybe they'd be getting a nice dress, or getting their hair done.
Okay. All right.
I'm just saying.
Good cover.
I kind of like that guys are willing to go all in for a date.
I did too.
Because I think family formation is actually part of solving this problem. So good on the guys for caring about dates.
Speaking about family, how much of this comes from the way that you are constructed at home, and this idea that you say, I want to have this and I want to have that, and I saw this party and that party, and the parents are
fueling that to a certain degree. They're letting you live at home so you could use your money, your disposable income on these things. Lydia, we've seen people literally plummet to their death to capture the perfect selfie that they wanted to put on social media. We're seeing people destroy their credit. We've talked about social media earlier in the show and its role in creating these communities where people can sort of go to extremes in their conversation. And so I think that this sort of picks up on that too.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I echo so many of the comments that you guys have already made. And I was really thinking about that stat that you just highlighted about the number of men, 46% would go into debt for a single date. First, I wanted to know what kind of date that is. I'm just curious because I can assure you my husband was not taking me on any one of those dates, and I still married him anyway.
Dave and Buster's.
Yeah, absolutely. Dave and Buster's is a great date.
You get 75% off.
The second thing, too, is when I read that stat, I had to immediately think of my little son, and I just hope that I'm doing a good job as I'm raising him to understand that you are worth so much more, your value as a human being, than what you're able to buy someone on a date. You know, your character, your beliefs, your faith. And how do we go about building that in our young people when it is a society and a culture that is dominated by social media and keeping up with the big parties and the fancy outings and all of
And
that?
part
It's
of
hard.
this goes to what Charlie Kirk's message was too, Steve, because he believed in his faith. And it took a very large view in, I think, how he looked at the world order, how people see themselves as well. And so when we sit back and remember him and part of his legacy, Brian, to your point, trying to get people back to some of these core values because we're losing it in society and that's harming us.
Well, and the tendency got that people were receiving that message. And another good thing is apparently religion is making a comeback among younger people because they realize they're on this earth for a higher purpose than just themselves. And part of the problem, though, with the social media these days, remember when you were in high school, I remember decades ago, how most people felt they're sort of on the outside. They wanted to impress their friends. They didn't want to be shunned. They wanted to be part of a group. Well, with social media, that goes on steroids.
Yeah.
Because you see it all the time. You know, you go to you used to go to a mall and you get stimulated, want to buy this, want to buy that. You have it mall 24 hours a day
right.
Yeah.
with
That's
great
totally true.
stuff.
Steve, thank you. Marcus, thank you. We'll see you both again soon. And of course, we'll see you on The Fixer.